Hey guys! This is Cartoon Recapped. Today we'll show you a 2006 family adventure cartoon called Shark Bait. Be aware of heavy spoilers. Sit back and enjoy the show. Pisces, or Pi, is a young orange wrasse living with his parents Pike and Piper in the polluted harbor of Boston until a fishing boat scoops them from the sea. Pi's parents help him escape the net, but cannot escape themselves. Before being taken away, Piper makes Pi promise her he would go live with his Aunt Pearl. Pi's new porpoise friend Percy and his mother Meg agree to take him, but Pi refuses to leave in case his parents return. Meg tells him once anyone is taken by a net, they are killed. Pi is heartbroken that his parents are gone forever. Meg and Percy take Pi to live with his Aunt Pearl on an exotic Caribbean reef. Upon arrival, Pi comes across three elderly marlin named Mo, Jack, and Manny, who direct him toward Pearl's home. On his way there, Pi immediately falls in love with Cordelia, a beautiful model that has appeared on the cover of National Geographic. He also meets his cousin Dylan, who he quickly bonds with. However, Pi soon encounters Troy, a tiger shark, who is not only terrorizing everyone in the reef community but also has his eyes set on Cordelia to become his mate. Pi confronts Troy, only to be physically assaulted by him. Cordelia tells Pi that the only dangerous place on the reef is between Troy and whatever he wants, and if Pi wishes to help her, he won't interfere. Pi and Dylan find their way home, where Pearl is excited to see that Pi has arrived. She is a fortune teller, along with her assistant Madge, a starfish, and uses a pink pearl that Dylan's late father gave to her as a crystal ball. Pearl reads Pi's future and sees that he is destined for great things and that he will find his destiny on the reef. Pearl then tells Pi that he can go anywhere, excluding an abandoned shipwreck and a forbidden place called Flat Bottom. Pearl leaves Dylan in charge of showing Pi around. Dylan tells Pi about Nerissa, a wise old turtle who lives in the abandoned shipwreck and practices martial arts, leading to rumors that he is a wizard. Eventually, they stumble upon Flat Bottom, the open sea, which is outside the wildlife sanctuary, free for humans to come with their fishing nets. Dylan leaves after a close encounter, and Pi sees Cordelia, but initially does not interact until she screams after getting a lure stuck in her fin and comes to her aid. Pi brings Cordelia to Buddy and Lou, a crab and sawfish duo who successfully remove it. Afterward, she invites him to go to a concert with her. Beforehand, Pi meets Dylan once again, and they observe Nerissa defend his blue pearl against a gang of squids. At the amphitheater that night with Cordelia, Pi learns about the performer Thornton, a seal who fought an enormous beast. Afterward, Pi and Cordelia look at the stars, and she falls in love with him. Suddenly, Troy arrives and pursues them. Pi refuses to leave Cordelia, but Troy starts abusing him worse than ever, until Cordelia makes a deal with him: if he leaves Pi alone, she will marry Troy. Pi is knocked unconscious by Troy and is carried to Nerissa's shipwreck by a current. When Nerissa tells Pi the following day, he is fed up with Troy's abuse and asks Nerissa to teach him the ways of the ocean to combat Troy, but he refuses. Pi asks other residents for help, but the Marlins think because of their age, they won't be useful, also revealing they used to be friends of Nerissa's. Thornton also refuses until Pi reminds Thornton of his tale. However, he states that he didn't actually fight a beast, but due to his poetic license, it didn't count as lying. After defending Nerissa's pearl from Bart and Eddie, Nerissa agrees to train Pi. On Pi's first day of training, Pearl expresses her concern, telling Pi that she could not live with herself if he were killed. Pi reminds his aunt how she told him he would find his destiny on the reef, and found it when he met Cordelia, and now he's losing her like he lost his parents. Nerissa leads Pi down a valley with obstacles including razor-sharp elkhorn coral, burning fire coral in a dark enclosed tunnel called Bottleneck Alley, and finally, the West Indies current full of dangerous Portuguese man-o'-war. Meanwhile, Cordelia is informed by Buddy and Lou about Pi's upcoming battle with Troy. Nerissa reveals the story of his blue pearl to Pi, and he gives it to his wife, but she got hooked in the open sea and taken away. Nerissa desperately begged for help, but no one was brave enough. Pi understands but is unsure how to stop Troy for good. Nerissa tells Pi that Troy never learned about anything bigger than himself, stating the ocean itself is bigger than Troy, and if Pi can use the ocean against him, his size wouldn't matter. Cordelia finds Pi and asks him to reconsider, willing to sacrifice herself for his life. That night, Pearl's pearl is stolen by Troy's henchman. She is heartbroken, since it was all she had left of her late husband. Pi realizes that he must fight Troy, regardless of who doubts him. When Troy returns to the reef, Pi initiates a chase with him through the valley Nerissa used to train him. Troy is hit by all the obstacles until they reach flat bottom. Nerissa and Dylan disable Bart and Eddie by shoving them down a lobster hole. Troy swats Pi into a cliff, burying him in rocks. Nerissa tries to help but is also hit by Troy. Just as all seems lost, Thornton joined the fight along with the Marlins, who apologized to Nerissa for not having his back when he needed them. Percy and Meg return and free Pi. Pi sees a net and gets an idea. Troy says Pi is doomed since they are now in his domain. Troy chases Pi up to the surface, where he manages to lead Troy into the net and narrowly escapes the shark's jaws. A screaming Troy, trapped in the net, begs for his life as the fishermen lift him from the sea. Pi is proclaimed a hero by the population of the reef, who all mock Troy, believing that he will be made into seafood. Nerissa tells Pi he is like a son to him and gives him his pearl. Pi presents Cordelia with the pearl, and she accepts it. They share a kiss as the reef celebrates, including a redeemed Bart and Eddie, who rejoice at their freedom from Troy. In the mid-credits scene, Thornton tells Pi's story to everyone on the reef. Proud now that he can tell a true story ending with Pi was determined, he refused to despair. I know it's all true, for you see, I was there. Thanks for watching. Hope you all enjoyed, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.